Good morning, good morning, good morning. Hey, I'm just here with my girlfriend Ree.
Hi.
And we are having a little girls' weekend away. And so I just kind of we were sitting here talking, and a subject came up that was really kind of important. And it was so important to the fact that it made me sad a little bit. I was asking Ree about how her church experience was up in Virginia. Her lifestyle has changed. And I was just curious, she's been up there for quite a bit. And I was just like, well, what's going on? And so she kind of spoke my heart. She spoke my heart concern. And again, this is not, I just want to reiterate, I am not trying to bash anybody. I'm not trying to tear down the church or any of those things. But her experience where she went wasn't that good. So, Ree, can you just kind of explain what happened? Or
after a pretty traumatic divorce experience, my 4 daughters and I moved cross country from Seattle to Virginia. And when we arrived in Virginia, I made it, like, my aim was to plant roots, plant an anchor in that location, and really try to get the support and fellowship that we very, very much needed at that point in our lives. Before the divorce, I always kind of took on that ministering role in churches that we were involved in. And so I felt, for the first time in my life, I was now in that season of needing to receive. And I did expect that it would come through the church, and sadly that's not what happened. And I also have a special needs daughter. My youngest daughter's blind, so it was also very apparent every time we walked into church and into all the services, here's my little blind daughter with her cane, it was kind of like a glaring, like, here I am, a single mom with 4 girls. We kind of need support here. And sadly, it never came.
And you said, like, you walked in, and you've been there for a year, right?
I was there a year.
For a year, and nobody, except for, she said, one person.
One family had us over for dinner, yeah.
One person.
But that was the only time someone reached out to us outside of
and this is a person who, she said she went to women's groups, Bible studies,
small groups, Sunday schools,
and it wasn't like she was hiding behind, because I actually have women that I know that are doing that.
I did that before we moved to Virginia. I did do that a little bit in the church we were involved in after my divorce. I did kind of hide in the background. I didn't make my needs known, and
which shouldn't matter, by the way. Really shouldn't matter. I mean, but a reason why I was emphasizing that is because
I made it very clear. Anytime I had an opportunity to talk to people, I didn't hide the fact that of our situation and our need for fellowship.
And you shouldn't. And so what I'm saying is that it's not like she should have to say that. She could be a wounded person who is just
who can't
talk and who can't speak. Yeah. And so one of the things that my heart is after, and my desire, even from doing these little clips, is to let people beware that we as believers need to be a little bit more on point. We actually need to be people who don't look, and I know that you had said this, and it made me sad, because you said, well, I felt like it was because you were divorced.
Yeah, I think because we didn't fit into that normal mold anymore. I don't know if people really know what to do with that when they have their normal families, and I think the church can be very cloistered, with things that are familiar to them, and they don't want to venture out into new territory that they don't know how to speak into. And my advice to that is, if you're that person, you want to reach out, but you don't know how, it's okay if you don't know what to say. Just inviting someone for coffee or saying, hey, I noticed you have, a daughter that has some special needs. Like, is there anything that we can do to help? Like, just little stuff like that would make a big difference in someone's life.
Yeah, and I think you hit it perfectly. You don't have to know what to say. I think a lot of times people think, well, I don't know what to say. Like, if there's a handicapped person, or if there's somebody with tattoos all over, and they got pink hair, don't shy away from somebody just because they don't look like your norm. Because that's why people, honestly, I'm just going to say it, that's why people do not want to be involved in the church. They don't want to be involved in a church where they feel like they can't even be accepted. And that's one reason why I love my church. Oh my goodness, I love my church. They actually make you feel like it's okay. It's okay that you're different. It's okay because we're going to love on you. And Jesus did, for Pete's sakes. He was accused of being so much because of the fact that he was around different people.
Right.
And I'm not saying we change our theology. You said something like that. Oh, that was so good. You said something like, You have this theology, but you don't literally do anything about it.
You don't live it out.
You don't give it out. We have to have our faith have legs, people. We have to have our faith do something. We cannot just hide it. I tell my kids, don't hide it under a bushel. That old hymn, hide it under a bushel. No, I'm not going to let it shine. Let it shine. Don't think about yourself. I know that it's hard to get out of your corner. It's hard to do those things, but there are people that walk into our churches, walk into our lives, walk into the grocery stores. Guys, don't let your Christianity be something you just talk about and you debate. For Pete's sakes, there's so many Christians out there, and I'm sounding mad. I am really not mad. I'm really just being very passionate. But there's so many people out there. They're debating, and every theologically thing has to be perfect. But they're forgetting people. They're forgetting people walking in the church.
Right.
Walking in the church with their hurts and their pains, and just wanting someone to say hi. So one of the things my family and I have adopted is we just open up our house on Sunday. We open up our house to whoever wants to come. We may not even have dinner. I'm not like the person who likes to cook all the time. My husband does. He's awesome. But we just might say, hey, come on over. Let's go look in the refrigerator and see what we have, or let's go to the store and go find something to eat, and bring it on over. And, gosh, we're just going to be in our sweats because we're tired. Guys, let's do life together. That's what it's really about, is doing life together. Right. So for all my friends out there that have been wounded by the church, I'm really sorry. I honestly feel like I need to say I'm sorry. And that's not how Jesus is. Okay. And I'm not trying to hurt, or talk bad about Christians, because honestly, they're hurting too. And so we're all wounded people. We're all on this journey. We're all trying to figure this out. But this is one of those parts where I want people to understand, to put together that puzzle piece. And so we're all wounded. But sometimes we need to not look at ourselves, and we need to look at someone else walking in. I mean, you're a gorgeous woman, so people are going to probably think you got it all together anyway. Just look past the outside. And for heaven's sakes, do something about it and love on people, okay? So that's all we had to say. Bye.